Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning back in. Or if this is your first time, you should go back and watch this video because I'm commenting on many of the comments that I got from that video. So if this is your first time here, maybe this isn't the right spot, but you can stay. I don't care. And for those of you who are here to see if I comment on your comment, first, a round of applause. These comments were amazing. You know, there's the 80-20 rule. More than 80% of the comments were thoughtful and full of introspection. So do I want to get to all of you? I really do. Again, we have the list, okay? We'll do what we can. This might be long, so please don't feel like you have to hang out, like you would anyway. Okay, so let's start. There. Michelle Whites. There's so many men in this community. I would like some of your brain power for this. So after doing some introspection, which is the key word, I feel I would benefit from an older woman's perspective. And guys, what would you say to someone like me? Where does she find traditionally minded, high quality men? Okay. What do you guys think? My big recommendation is, especially in California, go and use the Meetup app and find meetups that are full, philosophical, free thinkers. There's so many of those meetups, and the people that you will find in them are brilliant and sharp-minded. I would say that would be a really great place to start. What do you fine gentlemen have as a suggestion for her? Thanks, Michelle. I do wish you luck. You should keep us updated. That'd be awesome. Next up is Felix Turk. Welcome, Felix. I think this is your first time commenting. I'm not quite sure. So he has a great comment, but something that was triggered in my mind was I've learned that young women think that they will always get attention, and then they can always get a hot guy to go on a date with. Females are born with their power, physical beauty, or just youth, and it fades over time, but males are born with little to no power, and they have to work to earn that power. I agree. And this is what it sparked in my head. Everyone thinks that if it's good and easy, it will stay good and easy. And that's women typically, and men think that if it's not good and easy, it will get good and easy. So women are at this place where they think they're going to maintain that power, and men are convinced that they will get that power. And it happens like that sometimes, but not all of the time. Anyway, very good comment. All right, next up is Fit for Life. Fit for Life has a great comment. He talks about 25% of the population are incapable of introspection due to cluster B personality disorders like narcissism. Men instinctually know this and will not just... sorry. Most women who are unmarried by 25 have psychological damage from too many sexual partners. This results in their inability to pair bond with a man. Men instinctually don't like that. Question to everyone listening who agrees with that, which I would say most of you. How do you find that number out? On what number date do you ask? And then here's a separate question. Let's say that you were dating a woman and you asked her and she gave you a number that you found suitable. 0, let's say. For many guys, that's not suitable. Anyway, you get the suitable answer, you get married, and you are having a happy and fulfilling marriage. 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30 years in. On her deathbed or a year before, she tells you that she lied and her number was 100,000. Let's go extreme here. Would you divorce her? Would you negate the relationship that you had? What would you do? So I'm just interested in that. And a lot of men don't trust women anyway to give the right answer. Does that come into play? Do you run with assumptions that many women have a high body count? Because that's not what I have found. And I know that from, one of my sayings is, if you want to meet shitty people, go online, turn on the TV. But if you want to meet good people, leave your house. That's just what I have found. And anecdotally, I think that many women have not had a lot of sexual partners. Anecdotally, I think a lot of men have not. So anyway, just a question for Fit for Life. Thank you for your comment. Warwick Morgan just kind of gave a compliment. Your insights and honest delivery should inspire the most shallow among us to engage in healthy, deep introspection. Did you think deeply at all about anything from this video? Maybe I should put a poll up. Okay, so I'm going to put a poll right here. Watching this last video that I'm commenting about, did it help you introspect in any way? Thank you, Warwick. Welcome. Jacob says, after a long introspection, I figured life is more meaningful without women. Isn't that funny how we're all so different? Jacob, as long as your life is meaningful and you feel good about it, I back you. And thank you for the comment. Okay, Oleg Kolajeski, I think, said many things, but then he asked a question. I wonder if you think it's possible that emotional 2s can be attracted to emotional 8s or 9s because they're looking to be fixed by said person. No, not really. Imagine the biggest piece of shit you've ever met. Like after a 5-minute conversation, you're like, that person is up. That's how an 8 would see a 2. And a 2 might long for, so let's say a 2 is really messed up. So they need recalibration and they don't want to do it on their own. Who is the most calibrating person besides one's internal self? A parent, a mentor. So I think a 2 would see an 8 as someone that can help mentor them, because an 8 or a 9 is very emotionally fit, very parental. And an 8 or a 9 won't want to parent. They'll want to partner. And even if a 2 thinks that they're attracted to an 8 or a 9, after their first conversation or their first disagreement, the 2 is going to have a very different way and technique of dealing with that glitch in connection, that disagreement, that dispute, and the 8 will be very armed for it and speak respectfully and inquisitively because they really want to know what's going on in the 2's head, and the 2 will not be able to handle that. So the 2 will back off, thinking that it just won't feel good enough to maintain. That's my opinion. Thank you for the question and the comment. Oh, look, I hope I got your last name. You know, as being Polish, I would hope that I would do Kolajeski, that's right. Okay, anyway, thank you. Moving on. James Kelber gets one of the awards for best comments. So as you can see, to go through this whole thing would be difficult. So I just want to take a little segment of it. You know what? This one's so good I thought about just reading it, but I didn't want to piss you guys off. If you guys have time, go in and read this. It's awesome. Here it is. This is the sentence that I really like. Anyway, I'll save you from the details, but it was rough. And as an adult, I thought I called the shots, but I was just a puppet with the past pulling the strings. Whew. That's really good. That's really good. James Calvert, thank you for that. Like I said, this comment is worthy of your time to go into and read on your own and introspect about it. Thanks, James. Next up, Joshua Crispin. I only do that because no whispering my name for fun. So I did. I'd like to hear about your wall. Not physically able to have kids? I am. Well, no, I'm not. I'm 42. My caviar has become scrambled. Think too old to start a family? To start, yes. I've never wanted kids. When I was a little girl, I was very uncomfortable around little girls and little boys. I've always liked, I've always felt more comfortable around adults. And now that I'm older, I feel pretty good around kids, solid kids. You know, I like to have conversations with them and ask deep questions because they're pretty capable of giving pretty deep answers. The reason I talk so much to, or try to talk to women about having children and that it's important is because about 90% of the women that I have known in my 20s and 30s that said they didn't want children ended up having them because they ended up wanting them. And I guess, truth be told, many of these women would say, I don't think so. So they weren't for sure about it, but they all ended up having these children. So that's why I warn. It's never been for me to have a child from my body. I think it'd be interesting to see it, and but I have a way of mentoring a child. I figured out a way. Well, I didn't figure it out. It just fell onto my lap. Okay. Recall at age you felt high sexual market value. I did not. I guess I noticed male attention starting at 38. I know that you might not believe that, but I was never hit on. I was never really flirted with. The older I get, it seems that I have more and more options. Not from 25-year-olds, but we're not in the same camp. We're not looking at each other. But from men in their 30s, 40s, 50s, yes. So I haven't, I guess 3 years ago, current, pair bonding easy for me. I have pair bonding easy. Yeah. When I finally get through and have a relationship with a man, I pair bond with them. There is an exception. My ex and I broke up when I was 23, and that's who I lost my virginity to. From 23 to 30, I had 2 boyfriends, and I feel bad for them. Well, first of all, they weren't well suited for me or I for them, but I did not pair bond with them. But when I got married at 30, and I remember sitting at a coffee shop, and I journaled. I believe in journaling, and I was like emotional. What that means is I cried. I shed some tears over my ex, from 7 years ago. And once I got all that out, pair bonding has not been a problem. I mean, obviously it's been my husband and then a boyfriend after my divorce. But no, I haven't experienced that once I let go of that ex. And then I've dated plenty of short men. Now I have I think I'm a little unique because I'm almost 5'10", and I was always tall in school, so I never felt feminine. I was taller than all the guys. So it would take a tall man for me to feel petite. When I put heels on or even shoes, I can turn into 6 feet. So I tower over many people. But no, height, it's been curious to me for the majority of women who are like 5'6", 5'5", 5'7", who want a guy who's 6'2". Like, fuck you. Then who do I get? 6'6"? But yeah, I've dated men and been very attracted to very short men. And finally, the male wall. I've been in fine dining for 16 years. I've traveled the world 10 months out of my life. I'm a very social person, so I've talked to a lot of people. Just in waiting tables, I've waited on about 50,000 people. And I typically have conversations with them. And I see couples. I would say the wall for a man, I have seen pretty pathetic men at 20. And I've seen robust, flirtatious, fun, vivacious men at 70. I don't think that there's an age that correlates for a wall. Whereas as many men think that 25, 30, 35, like I'm seeing in the comments, like, no, it's not 25, it's 30. No, it's not 35, it's 32. It's like, so it's weird. But for me, for a man, it's when they never create the personality that is genuinely theirs, no authenticity. When they have secluded themselves from people for so long that they're uncomfortable, like tight, that's the wall for me. Thank you. I know I spent a long time on that. Joshua Crispin. Thank you. Andy Grubb, I believe it's a little deeper than fixing yourself, but I agree, broken can't fix broken. I live alone, work alone, I travel to all 7 continents alone. I've done a lot of traveling on my own as well. So needless to say, I've had a lot of time for introspection. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Isn't that funny? I also would not have traded it for anything because I have a saying, you can't spit on your past if you're happy with your present. And I see a lot of people do that. They're very, like a shitty thing will happen, but they end up delightfully happy, but they still are pissed off about the shitty thing. Like, what the fuck? It brought you here. So I am with you on that. He also says, I find that the values of society have fundamentally changed from delayed gratification to instant gratification. Right. Things have become too easy to achieve, and people have not been shown that real world exponentially gains. You know what this reminds me of? I've had a conversation about PTSD and how so many teenagers and young people actually experience PTSD symptoms from like the most trivial shit. And it took me a long time to respect that. I guess respect's not the right word. Understand intellectually how that could actually be true. People that have had absolutely no pressure from childhood and life and trophies and participation trophies don't have any resistance. So PTSD would be so easy. Then again, you have people who've been to war and had their friend's head blown off and their mom died and they were viciously attacked by a dog when they were little. And you can throw things at these people and they're like, oh, okay. Whew, I know how to do this. So I think you're right. Sorry if that was tangential. Andy Grubb, appreciate you. World Python. Introspection. What do you do if you have no type of friend group and online dating is useless unless you're a 10 Chad with a trust fund? Well, I'll get some pushback on this, but I hate, first of all, the mindset that it's useless unless you're a 10 Chad with a trust fund. That's not true. It's not true. So first, if that bothers you, and if you're like, no, it is true, then I can't help you because you are stuck there. You've put yourself there. It's safe there. It's safer there. Because if you're not having online dating success, you will say, well, the only reason is it can't be anything about my profile or my profile pictures or how I'm stating or how I'm filtering through the women. It's just because I'm not a trust fund Chad. So it's easy to stay there. So I would say if you could just to peel that off a little bit, and if you have no type of friend group, I have a whole video about meetups. Please, everyone, attend a meetup. Look for the keywords: philosophy, free thinkers. Open mind is typically liberal. And they'll be really pissed if you believe in God even a little, or if you support a Republican candidate. Usually not. But yeah, that would be my suggestion. And don't go once. Go every week for a month. Every week for a month. Get a cup of coffee, get a beer, sit down, and get to know the group. Familiarize yourself. Let them familiarize themselves with you. Things will start changing. Even if it's companionship just with fellow men, or companionship with women who there's no romantic interest with. That's it. World Python, you got this. Things are this next week when you find your meetup group, things are going to start changing for you. And I'm very excited. Lemmon Zeppelin, welcome. I think you're right about who we attract. I'm a guy and I tend to attract and be attracted to horribly manipulative and controlling women. My mom is controlling of my dad. I also have mental health issues, so I honestly don't know if I will ever have a healthy romantic relationship with anybody. C'est la fucking vie, as they say. Yes, maybe. Do you want? I don't see... You've told me some historicity about you and a little bit of information about your mental health and your parents. What do you want? If you could have anything you want, what would it be? I would start there. I think you can have it. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe the odds are stacked against everyone for finding a person that they really connect with, that really loves them, and health and loveliness can be theirs. And maybe I'm a romantic, and maybe that's a bad message, but I would just be interested, Monsieur Lemmon, what you want. Ah, yeah, John Brown and I like this. I decided against introspection in favor of the condensed version. My ideal woman was a tall, slender brunette with novel brown eyes and quite bright and witty. What did I find? A short, non-slender brunette with blue-green eyes and not quick-witted. She will tell you the same thing. She is perfection for a critter like me. So he tells about how he met her and how he filtered to find her. The best beer doesn't necessarily come in the fanciest bottle. But I thought. Okay, well, maybe you're right. Maybe I thought wrong. I'm very happy for you. And you're both over 60. Congratulations, John. And thank you for the very good message. And I'm happy that you are happy in love. Kevin Aubry Thorpe has many things to say. He asks me one question. Goes like this. My question is this. How did you repair, recalibrate, rewire, reparent yourself and become an emotionally fit person? I'm going to show you guys something really weird. Okay. Oh my God. 2 years ago. Oh, here, I'll show you. Posted 2 years ago. So I told you I was neglected. My dad was not around. And I knew that that was influencing. Here, I don't want to show you guys yet. I knew that that was influencing me negatively. Okay. So I thought, how can I rewire my opinion about men or my father? So I did something really weird. Ready? All right. Looking for someone to pretend to be my dad. I would just like to go out for coffee with an older man who could pretend to be my dad. I'd like some basic shit. Advice on men. I'm proud of you. Business advice. How's life? Nothing fancy and no pervs, although I can see how a perv would be confused or hopeful. We'll go Dutch. I know this is weird, but I'm weird. But you know that. You're my dad. So I did that. And I got a lot of responses. Some people are like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen on Craigslist. And some people are like, this is the most dangerous thing. And you are messed up. And there's also pretty much like my comment section, right? And I didn't go through with it, but I had like one secretary was like, my boss, the owner of the construction company, found your post and he feels really bad. He is. And she gave like the whole history and he would be happy to meet you Dutch, separately. And But I'm like, this is kind of weird. So I just did it on my own. I started asking myself what I wanted and what the chasm was from who I was choosing, who I was comfortable with, and then I would just write about that gap. And the more I wrote, the closer my comfort level came to accepting that I could find what I wanted, and when I would find it, it wouldn't be a chasm. It would be like rewired. The wiring, it wouldn't be such a long route to rewire because I was doing the internal work. I would, a lot of journaling, a lot of reimagining my feelings about my childhood or how people thought about me. And then just slowly it started to actually change me, who I was. Shit worked for me. And then he says that he just feels whatever he feels unconditionally. And he gets curious about it. I think curiosity is a great way to recalibrate yourself. Thank you for the comment. And Gecka Face, I agree with what you said. Welcome back. I think your definition of the wall is not accurate. From an introspection point of view, I think that the wall is better described as when your sexual market value has dropped precipitously such that you are deemed no longer to be viable for mating with. Yeah, okay, yes. I know what you're getting at. But mating with implies to me, and I could be wrong, making a baby. Okay. But yeah, it's also declining looks and youthfulness and vivaciousness and the ability to turn ahead, regardless of what you have to say. I don't know if that ever really happened. I don't know. But yes, I'm with you. You could be 22 years old, but an extremely unattractive and thus be deemed to have hit the wall. Or you could be 50 years old and still appear very youthful and attractive and thus not be deemed to have hit the wall. Thank you, Gacka Face. Peter Norman, I'm so sorry. As a recent widower, my wife of 29 years died last January. I began dating. Your video helps me with my own introspection about what type of women I want to be looking for moving forward. Not looking for children, but someone who, plants flowers and fruit trees is much more appealing than, I think that's my computer. Well, you're not going to replace her. And I think that would be a little disrespectful to try to. She was with you for a long time and provided you a lot of great memories. And it looks like she provided you no bitterness about women. So you're actually wondering about another woman. Write a list of what you want, or maybe what you got from your wife, not in a take way, but the things that she improved your life with. And then maybe a set of things that she didn't, not to disrespect her, but that might be a fun list to explore moving forward with your life. Think about that so the chasm becomes less, so you can actually find, when you find that person, the wiring in your mind isn't such a leap. Like, oh, well, she's nothing like my ex. That's okay. I've rethought it, rewired, and this is what I want. I don't know if that makes sense. Is my advice decent? Oh, I hope so. Thank you, and I'm truly sorry for your loss. I think it's wonderful that people even get to experience genuine love in this life. And Jan Davidson asked Jennifer a question. If I mate with a woman whose emotional wounds are going to resonate, trigger my own wounds from childhood, isn't that the opportunity to acknowledge and heal those wounds? Assuming I have a bit of self-awareness and want to improve. I feel like this is the only way to go. I have told partners and friends and people, everyone has these big, bold, I grew up in the country. And you know when you tip over a big rock or a piece of wood and there's like a million slithery things, and there's snakes and spiders and there's all sorts of stuff. Those things aren't bad, but sometimes they need to be exposed so they can go and find a different home. And I look at our childhood and our wounds as those boulders. And it would behoove us to find someone and be like, hey, oh, you want to partner up? Here's what I want. I have some really heavy boulders that I would like you to help me heave over, and it's going to be creepy under there. I don't know exactly what I'm going to find, but I'm positive there's creepy shit. Will you stand there holding my hand and let them scuttle and scurry with me? If you find a woman who is wounded to the extent that it helps bring out your wounds, she has to also want to do that genuinely. And to answer the question in the affirmative, yes, I want to be better with you and because of you, and I want you to be better with me and because of me. Yes, let's move boulders. Does that make sense? Thank you for the comment. Oh, Rick and Joe Cool, if you guys have time, oh, Rick and Joe Cool have amazing comments, but they're really long. So if you want to get a little more introspective, I would recommend those two men. Here we are, 40 minutes and 40 seconds. Thank you for tuning in. I wish I could meet all of you. You make me think more. You make me think things I didn't think before. Oh, it's turning into a poem. I appreciate you coming to spend time with me. What would my life be without you? Oh, geez. I can't even imagine my life without the listeners. Listeners isn't going to work. I can't imagine my life without you viewers. I wish we could spend time together and pour ourselves some doers. Oh, God. Okay, I'm going to get ready for work here pretty soon after I edit this, and I will see you all next week. Thank you for tuning in. I have strong feelings for you. I don't mean that sexually. Bye.